Yeah, I think it can be hard to feel gratitude uh, when it feels like you're you're constantly losing things. And when you're constantly losing things, it's like, what do I have to feel gratitude for? What do I have to be thankful for? Because I don't have this or I don't have that. And that it's almost like when you're playing a game, and I'm a sports guy. I love basketball. And it always reminds me, like, there are some teams that when they get down by 20, it's like, okay, this is terrible. We might as well wrap it up. But then there are those other teams where they see they're down by 20, and like some teams going down by 20 in the third quarter. And it's like, all right, we just got to pull this together, and then they'll come back. And you always hear stories about the fourth quarter comeback. And I think gratitude plays into that. I think it's saying, hey, look, these things have happened, and yeah, we're down, but there is still a moment. There are still ways that things can shift, and I don't want to take anything away from anybody, especially during these times. It can be really difficult to see those things, and I don't know if a sports comparison is good enough to someone losing their job or not having to pay for anything or for food. Uh, but at the same time, it's it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm losing all these things, you have to look for things to be thankful for. You have, like, this is what's going to have that fourth quarter comeback for you. It's okay. What's around us that we can grab hold to? And it reminds me of, it reminds me of my grandma. My grandma was the absolute, if you didn't know her, she was weird. And I don't know how any way to explain it, but she was just weird. But during the most random times, she would just be dancing around and she'd be singing her songs like, thank you, Jesus. And it's like, what are you doing, Grandma? Like, I remember we're in the, like, moving her house, and it was like something broke. It was like we're moving it and a table broke. And I'm like, Grandma, I'm so sorry. And she's like, thank you, Lord. I'm like, what are you doing right now? This is terrible. Uh, but she told me, it's when you feel like you deserve things, that's when you become ungrateful. And it's a constant, I've earned this and I deserve this. But nothing that you have can't be taken away from you. And even your life, it can be taken from you. Yeah, when we slow down to be thankful, I think we're able to put things in perspective. And once again, it's making sure that once again, I keep on saying once again, uh, but when we slow down, that's when you're actually able to see what's really there. And it's like in a car comparison. If you're going really fast, or I think about, you know what, better comparison, Star Wars. And I'm not a big Star Wars guy whatsoever. Love movies, not a big Star Wars guy. But when they hit that hyperdrive, and it's like all the stars are, and then all of a sudden you just see lines, and that's all they're seeing. But it's when they stop, that's when you're able to see the different planets. That's where you're able to see the different stars. And that's when they know where they're at. That's when they know they've actually arrived to where they need to go, is when they finally stop. And this isn't like, I've appeared here, I'm just here. But first, they have to stop going fast, and then they can go to the planet they need to go to. That's when they can go and get onto the ship. There's going to be some Star Wars fans sitting there, and they're going to be like, Terrence, that's not exactly what you're supposed to say. They don't go to ships. And like, I get it. I understand. But that's how I look at it. Things that I do to build gratitude in my daily life is that slowing down effect, is like taking that time to, whether it's sit down and just watch a movie with my daughters. I have three daughters, and to be able to sit there and watch whether it's a romantic comedy or right now they're into anime. And so sitting down and watching anime that has like 20,000 different characters and they're trying to explain all these characters and not rush those moments or not to rush a moment where even in the busyness of my job, no matter where my job takes me, I still have to stop and see like, okay, this is where I'm at. And this is actually kind of awesome because I'm here. And sometimes I may be in the middle of North Dakota, but it's being able to stop and go, all right, I'm here. I'm like, I got to see North Dakota today. I don't know if I wanted to see that much of North Dakota, but I'm here and I get to do that. This might answer the first when we were talking beforehand, but but it is able for me to stop in the midst of the busyness that I'm going through and pick out at least one thing that I can appreciate. And I remember I hate car problems. If you, car problems, there's no one that I've ever met that's like, car problems, that's cool. Like, no one on earth has ever said that. That's right. It's like, what is this? And so I remember this one time I got into an accident and it totally like ruined my car. I was just like, yeah, we're gonna have to buy a new car. This is gonna be super, super expensive. And I was able to stop and then to sit there with my wife as I'm complaining. And she's like, well, at least we're going to have to now try to find a way to get you a new car. I was like, I guess. I was like, it's going to be expensive. But it's like, yeah, I guess there is that journey of seeing what we can do. There is that journey of, all right, let's see what we can make happen. Whether it's, I guess I'm going to have to learn the bus system. I haven't learned the bus system lately. So it's like, all right. Or it's, hey, I'm going to take an adventure and see, especially for us at the time, what's the lowest we can go to get a new car? This is going to be a great adventure. We're going to see how low this will take us. But it is in when everything is going fast and everything is happening for me to at least find that one thing that I can grab a hold to. It does. It shifted my perspective when honestly, when I did stop to see like, man, I I feel like I've worked for something and I'm old for something. And when I stop to realize like I am not owed anything and everything I have can be taken away from me. And so when I saw things like that, that's when I became really appreciative. I've had to, um, probably about, I want to say now 12, 13 years ago, I lost my brother and my brother and we were super close and love my brother. And when he died, it really brought me into this depression. And eventually I had to go see a counselor, then a therapist. And it was sitting in one of those sessions where they're just like, all right, number one, you have to say this is not your fault. And I didn't realize how hard that I was able to say that. Like that was really difficult to say, well, I didn't do this for my brother and I messed up this way and maybe I could have helped save him in this different way. And it was like, Terrence, no, you need to stop and you need to say this was not your fault. And I sat there and I was like, I'm like trying to find reasons of why I can't say that and that's not true. But it was like, all right, yeah, you're right. This isn't my fault. And once I realized it wasn't my fault, then it's like, okay, so now let's grab a hold of the good thing that we can take from him. What can we do now with that hurt and your pain that you're experiencing? And the minute I saw it that way, where it was, okay, I'm done trying to grab a hold of that past. I can't change this now. And that it happened. But there is still something here, even in death and loss. There's something I can grab a hold to. And not only can I grab a hold of the memory of him, but then I can grab a hold of saying, I want to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. And for me, we were able to put together a book honoring my brother because my brother, he took his own life. And so we were able to put together a book of secrets of other people around the country and go, hey, you're not alone in these secrets. And I, number one, I am not a book person. I graduated from high school with a 1.8 grade point average. So it wasn't like Terrence is going to write a book one day. That was probably the last thing anybody would have ever thought I would do. But it came out of my gratitude. It came out of me saying there has to be something good that I can do from death. And that is when I became appreciative. And that's really helped me change my perspective, not only for my life, but now this has affected lots of other people's lives, thousands of people's lives. And it is not because Terrence put together this book, but it was the appreciation of saying, hey, this this cannot be. And we need to pull together and we need to appreciate all of our stories wherever our stories are at, our stories can still connect us to one another. And if our stories connect us to one another, then you are not alone. And if you are not alone, man, you should celebrate that and you should appreciate that. Yeah. Number one, you are not alone. And, and I know sometimes that can feel not true. Uh, but it is, and finding this is why it's so good to slow down and to find those other people to share those stories. Number one, I think it is you need to be, what's the word I'm looking for? You need to be vulnerable. Don't just hide your hurt and your pain. Share it. Because as you share it, that's how others can connect with it. And so it is okay to be vulnerable. Now, am I saying, hey, go out there and tell everybody, oh man, this is horrible. These things have happened. Like, don't be a Debbie Downer like that. But at the same time, find those key people. When people ask you, hey, how's it going? Don't just say I'm fine or it's okay. Like, no, don't sit in this by yourself. People, you be surprised. Like they're really asking, how are you doing? And even uh, when they're not expecting that answer, then that for them is a way that they can connect and with you and be like, oh man, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And I know for me, I love hearing people's stories. I love sitting with hurting people because I can sit there and I can at least say, I'm a part of this person's story now, and I'm going to help them lift them up. And who doesn't want to be a part of a comeback story? Who doesn't want to be a part of a story where someone was hurting and saying, I'm getting into this and I'm going to help them? There's a lot of people that can walk the other direction, but if someone's asking you, are you okay? They're asking also to be a part of your story. So don't hide it, be vulnerable with it, and then act on that.